For decades, TLC painted Matt Roloff as a wealthy, genius entrepreneur, a man who turned a patch of Oregon dirt into a multi-million-dollar pumpkin empire. We watched him orchestrate massive projects, move Earth with heavy machinery, and act like the ultimate tycoon. But what if his entire empire is now nothing more than a debt-ridden illusion? What if the cameras stopped rolling just as the bank accounts hit zero? Today, we are exposing the chilling, house-poor reality that suggests Matt is actually drowning in debt. We are peeling back the layers of what insiders are calling a financial house of cards, revealing how his secret financial ruin explains every single terrible decision he has made to his family in the last 2 years. From the unfinished mansion to the desperate sale attempts, the math finally makes sense. Matt Roloff isn't just downsizing, he might be on the brink of losing it all. Before we dive into the numbers that Matt doesn't want you to see, and the exclusive theory about where the money really went, do me a huge favor. If you have been suspicious about the Roloff Farm sale saga and want the truth, hit that like button right now. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the reality TV investigations that the networks try to bury, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Let's get into the expose. To understand the panic we are seeing in Matt's recent behavior, we have to look at the setup. For years, viewers assumed that the Roloff wealth was endless. We saw the trips to Hawaii, the constant renovations, and the fleet of custom cars. But insider reports and a deep dive into the timing of his assets paint a drastically different picture. The financial cracks began to show the moment the divorce was finalized, but the real hemorrhage started with the buyout. When the court judgment came down regarding the division of assets, Matt was faced with a staggering financial obligation to Amy. While the public numbers were reported one way, new theories suggest that the liquidity required to pay Amy off was far more than Matt had in the bank. We are hearing reports that to facilitate this massive transfer of wealth and keep the farm under his name, Matt may have been forced to mortgage the property to its absolute limit. This wasn't just a simple loan. This was leveraging every acre, every barn, and every piece of heavy machinery as collateral. The theory is that Matt didn't buy Amy out with cash from his pocket. He bought her out with money that belongs to the bank. This fundamentally changes the power dynamic of the farm. Matt walks around like he owns the place, but if these debt utilization reports are accurate, the bank owns Roloff Farms, and Matt is just the tenant paying a massive monthly premium to stay there. This financial leverage creates a pressure cooker situation that TLC never fully explained. Suddenly, the farm wasn't just a home or a business, it was a liability. Every month that the farm didn't turn a record profit was a month Matt moved closer to default. This context is crucial because it reframes the narrative of him being a greedy father. When he refused to lower the price for Zach or Jeremy, the audience saw a man choosing money over family. But if we look at it through the lens of this secret debt crisis, we see a man who literally couldn't afford to give a discount. If he is leveraged to the hilt, selling the farm at a family price wouldn't just be generous, it would be financial suicide. He needed top dollar not because he wanted to be rich, but because he needed to pay off the massive lien he took out to get Amy off the deed. Furthermore, we have to look at the timing of the show's production versus real-time expenses. Reality TV pays well, but it doesn't pay unlimited construction well. As ratings fluctuate and the show's future hangs in the balance every season, Matt's primary income stream is unstable. Yet, he continued to spend as if the checks were guaranteed forever. We are seeing what financial experts often call lifestyle creep, colliding with a liquidity crisis. The assets are there on paper, the land is valuable, but you can't buy groceries with dirt, and you certainly can't pay a construction crew with a pumpkin patch that is mortgaged to the hilt. This brings us to the most alarming aspect of the setup, the silence. Usually, when a celebrity entrepreneur is doing well, they diversify. They launch new products, they invest in other markets. Matt has been singularly focused on liquidating assets. The fire sale of the farm, the pivot to short-term rentals, the selling of excess equipment. These are not the moves of a man looking to expand an empire. These are the frantic maneuvers of someone trying to stop the bleeding. The reports swirling around Oregon suggest that local vendors and contractors have noticed a shift. The blank check mentality is gone, replaced by a tightness that suggests the coffers are running dry. The setup for this disaster was years in the making. It started with the assumption that the show would go on forever and that the land value would only skyrocket. But when interest rates spiked and the luxury real estate market cooled down, Matt was left holding a very expensive bag. He is sitting on a property that costs a fortune to maintain, with a debt load that requires massive monthly servicing, all while his liquid cash was drained to settle the divorce. This is the definition of house poor. You look rich to the outside world because you live on a massive estate, but behind closed doors, you are shuffling bills and panicking about the next mortgage payment. And this financial terror is the only thing that explains the erratic, desperate decisions we are about to break down. Now we arrive at the twist, the massive structural mistake that turned a manageable debt situation into a full-blown financial crisis. If the buyout of Amy was the kindling, Matt's obsession with building his custom dream home was the match that lit the fuse. We need to talk about the mansion. For years, Matt talked about building his ultimate retirement home on the farm, a place designed exactly to his specifications. But what was supposed to be a triumph has seemingly morphed into a money pit that is swallowing his liquidity whole. Exclusive theories from construction insiders suggest that the budget for this project didn't just go over, it may have tripled. Think about the timing. Matt decided to break ground on a massive custom log-style home right in the middle of the most volatile construction market in history. We are talking about a period when supply chain issues sent the cost of lumber and raw materials skyrocketing. A project that might have cost $1 million 5 years ago was suddenly costing $3 or $4 million. But here's where the Matt Roloff factor comes into play. If you have watched the show, you know Matt is not a hands-off client. He is a micromanager. Reports from the local contracting scene in Oregon suggest that the project was plagued by change orders. In the construction world, a change order is the most expensive thing you can do. It means tearing down work that was already done because the owner changed their mind, or halting production to source a different, more expensive material. Matt's genius has always been his vision, but vision is expensive. We believe that as the walls went up, the bank account went down way faster than anticipated. We aren't just talking about buying bricks and mortar. We are talking about custom modifications for accessibility, specialized landscaping, and high-end finishes that Matt demanded to stroke his ego. He wanted a castle to look down on the empire. But the reality is, he was building a castle on a foundation of debt. The theory is that Matt exhausted his construction loans. Banks don't give you unlimited money just because you are on TV. They have a cap. Once you hit that cap, every single nail, every board, every hour of labor has to come out of your own pocket. And if our earlier theory is correct, that Matt emptied his pockets to pay Amy, then he didn't have the cash to finish the house properly without scrambling. This leads us to the other half of the twist, the failed sale of the north side. This is the smoking gun that proves the desperation. Matt put the big house and a large portion of the farm on the market for a staggering $4 million. At the time, he spun this as a strategic move to downsize. But let's look closer at the reality. He didn't just want to sell that land, he needed to sell that land. The timeline suggests that the proceeds from that $4 million sale were already earmarked to pay off the construction debts of the new mansion and the loan used to buy out Amy. It was a domino effect. He was counting on that money. He was banking on the idea that the Roloff name would command a premium price tag. But the market didn't care about the TV show. The market saw an overpriced property with high maintenance costs in a niche location. The house sat and sat and sat. Every day that property went unsold was a day Matt was paying carrying costs, insurance, property taxes, maintenance, and utilities on a massive estate that was generating zero income. This is the nightmare scenario for any real estate investor. You are asset rich, but cash poor. You have millions of dollars locked up in dirt and wood, but you can't use that to pay the electric bill or the contractors waiting for their checks. When the property didn't sell, Matt was forced to pull the listing. This wasn't a change of heart, as he might claim. This was a defeat. It was the realization that no one was coming to save him with a $4 million check. This failure forced the pivot to Airbnb. Suddenly, the big family home wasn't for sale. It was a short-term rental. The narrative was, I want to share the farm with the fans. The reality? I am desperate for cash flow to cover the mortgage. Short-term rentals are the last resort of a landlord who needs immediate, high-yield income to service a debt that is too large for a standard long-term tenant to cover. He needs that property to earn thousands a week just to keep the bank from knocking on the door. And we cannot ignore the failed investments. Matt has always been a man of many projects. Over the years, we have seen various business ideas pop up and vanish. But in this current economic climate, there is no room for error. We are seeing a contraction of the Roloff empire. The pumpkin season, while popular, is a massive overhead beast. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to set up. Staffing, insurance, safety regulations, infrastructure. If it rains for 3 weekends in October, that profit margin evaporates. In the past, TV money provided a safety net. If the pumpkins failed, TLC cut a check. But as the show's ratings wobble and the family drama alienates viewers, that safety net is fraying. The facade drops when you look at the little things. Why is Matt selling off random pieces of equipment online? Why is there a sudden push for cameo videos and paid appearances? These are not the actions of a retired multimillionaire relaxing on his laurels. These are the hustles of a man who needs liquid cash today. The unfinished state of the new house for so long was a visual representation of his bank account. It stalled because the money stalled. There is also the Caryn Chandler element to this financial twist. Caryn is a sharp woman. She managed the farm's operations for years. She knows the books better than anyone. There are rumors, whispers from those close to the production, that the relationship dynamic shifted when the money got tight. Caryn didn't sign up to be the nursemaid to a bankrupt empire. The delay in their wedding, the hesitation to fully merge their assets, the separate house she kept, these are protective measures. It suggests that she knows the ship is taking on water and she is making sure she has a life raft. If Matt was truly flushed with cash, the wedding would have been a lavish TV special by now. The fact that they are taking it slow screams financial caution. So, the twist is heartbreakingly simple. Matt Roloff committed the cardinal sin of real estate. He overimproved a property he couldn't sell, and he overleveraged a property he couldn't afford to keep. He built a monument to himself in the form of that new house, but he forgot to leave enough money to actually live in it. He is trapped in a cycle of robbing Peter to pay Paul, using rental income to pay construction debt, and using show money to pay interest on the farm. He is completely tapped out of liquid cash, and that panic is what drives every interaction we see on screen. He isn't being a villain because he enjoys it. He is being a villain because he is broke. Now, the puzzle pieces finally fit together. When you view Matt Roloff not as a wealthy tycoon, but as a man frantically juggling massive debts, the last 2 years of family drama suddenly make perfect, terrifying sense. This financial terror explains everything. It rewrites the history of the feuds that tore this family apart. Let's look at the most controversial moment in recent show history, the failed negotiation with Zach and Jeremy. For seasons, fans have vilified Matt for not giving his twin sons a family discount. We called him greedy. We called him stubborn. We asked, why couldn't he just knock $1 million off the price to keep the farm in the family? The answer, based on this financial expose, is that he literally couldn't afford to. This is the climax of the tragedy. If Matt is leveraged to the hilt, if the farm is mortgaged to pay off Amy and fund the new build, then Matt doesn't actually have the equity to give away. The bank holds the note. If the bank appraisal says the land is worth $4 million and Matt owes the bank $3 million against it, He cannot sell it to Zach for $2 million. He would be underwater. He would have to bring a check to the closing table just to sell his own house. He wasn't demanding top dollar because he wanted to squeeze his sons. He was demanding top dollar because he needed to appease the bank and clear the liens. He was backed into a corner where his love for his children collided with the hard math of his debt. He chose the only option that kept him out of bankruptcy, even though it cost him his relationship with his sons. This financial desperation also explains his erratic behavior toward Chris Merrick and Amy regarding the property details and that infamous loan discussion. Think about it. Why would a multimillionaire, a man who claims to have an empire, be so ruthlessly focused on a relatively small financial arrangement or harass Chris about property lines and high-interest repayment timelines? It is the panicked reaction of a man who feels his empire trembling. When you are liquid, a delay in payment is an annoyance. When you are broke, a delay in payment is a catastrophe. Matt's harassment of Chris, his obsession with every dime in the negotiations, his constant changing of the rules, these are the telltale signs of a micromanager losing control. He is fighting for pennies because he has bills measuring in the thousands piling up on his desk. The facade is completely gone. We are watching a man who is terrified. Every time he lashes out, every time he makes a confusing business pivot, it is a response to pressure we cannot see. The stress is visible on his face. The physical toll of running a farm that is bleeding money, trying to build a mansion he can't afford, and managing a family he has alienated is immense. He is trapped in a prison of his own making, built with high-interest loans and unrealistic dreams. This brings us to the fallout. The illusion has shattered. The tragic reality is that Matt's dream of passing the farm to the next generation wasn't stolen by ungrateful kids. It was sacrificed the moment he took on massive debt. The Roloff legacy is no longer about family, it's about liquidity. The farm has been stripped of its sentimental value and turned into a commodity that must be squeezed for every cent of profit just to keep the lights on. The short-term rentals, the wedding venue pivots, the pumpkin patch commercialization, it's all just debt service. Matt Roloff wanted to be the king of the castle. He wanted the biggest house, the biggest farm, and the biggest legacy. And he got it. But the cost was everything that actually mattered. He is sitting in a half-finished mansion, surrounded by land he has to work until he drops, estranged from the children who were supposed to inherit it. He won the negotiation, but he lost the war. He kept the asset, but he lost the family. And if the rumors are true, if the debt bubble finally bursts, he might end up with nothing at all. The bank doesn't care about TV ratings, and they don't care about memories. They only care about the payment, and Matt is running out of ways to make it. So I have to ask you, did you see this coming? Did you always suspect that Matt was secretly struggling with money? Or did the TV wealth fool you into thinking he was untouchable? Does this explain why he treated Zach and Jeremy the way he did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want to keep seeing through the reality TV smoke and mirrors, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are just getting started exposing the truth. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next investigation.